Thank you so much to Mihal for this challenge. So we've got the actual and the budget spends for Superbytes supermarkets here. We can see them in these two inputs. So we may need to correct some of the naming of these fields, but that's okay. We can see the category and the actual spend, as well as the budget, the category, and some notes about the budget that maybe were useful at one point, but in our analysis probably aren't going to be as useful to us. So let's just take a look at the actual first. So there is one thing that we want to just quickly correct in our actual table, and that is in this category field. Originally, it looks like transaction fees doesn't have this space between transaction and fees. So the way that we can edit that is literally just by double clicking on the value and adding that space in. Ta-da! And that's how we fix it so that it joins up correctly in the join. For the budget, there is a few more things we need to do. So these two values here are the ones that are causing us a little bit of a headache, since when we just change this field into a numeric value, if I do that here, then those go to nulls because they had that k value in there. So we need to just make this all a number before it can successfully transition into a number. And I find the easiest way to do that is to start by duplicating this field, so we're not losing any information at any point. So that's what I start off doing here. I've duplicated it, so I've got a budget-1 field, and I remove the letters from this field. So I go to the menu here, say clean, and remove letters, and that gets rid of those Ks. And then I am now safe to change this to a number. Of course, that 70 and 270 are looking quite low because now we need to multiply those by 1,000. And we do that using this calculation here. So we're checking that budget field that we haven't yet touched prior to this calculation, and we're seeing, does it end with a capital K at the end of the budget field? If so, multiply the numeric value in the duplicated field by 1,000. Otherwise, just leave the number as it is, and that corrects all of that for us and means that we're able to work better with that field. Next up, we're joining our two data sets together. Where I haven't renamed the field yet, it is the field that is 2022 joined with the field that is 2022. And we see we're getting 9 rows, which is consistent with the number of rows in each of these previous data sets. So that is indicating that join is working correctly. So then it's just a case of some renaming of fields and removing as per the challenge. So we're getting rid of that 2022-1 as that's just a repeat of the 2022 field. We are getting rid of that notes as we kind of alluded to earlier. That's not useful for the analysis we're doing. Then we're renaming that 2022 field at long last category. We're renaming budget to forecasted spending, and we're renaming actual to actual spending. And the way that we rename those field names, just double click on the field name here, allows us to edit them and rename them, or we can right click and go to the rename field option as well. Then all that's left to do is calculate the difference now between our forecasted and our actual spend. So in order to keep this as a whole number, we're wrapping the whole thing in a round function, and we're doing the actual spending minus the forecasted spending, so that any areas where the actual spending is above the forecast, that is a positive value. If the actual spending is below the forecast, it's a negative value. So, for example, utilities, that is minus 9,000 below the forecasted spend, roughly. So that's kind of helping to indicate that with that positive negative sign. It's always kind of a question what's going to be most logical to most people, but that's the way that I would choose to do it personally. So thank you very much, Mihal, for this challenge, and thanks very much for watching.